Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to be converting to decimals. So reminding you, if you have a fraction, how you can convert it to decimal, or a percent, okay? Or even like a mixed number, how you can convert to a decimal. So remember, if we're comparing different things, like if we have 2/3 and 47%, maybe 4 and 1/4. Okay, and we are asked to compare them, maybe order them from least to greatest, or ordering them from greatest to least. We're going to have to change these to a decimal because it's easier to compare them when we have a decimal. So, if you have a calculator and you go into Desmos, you can type it into there and you can do it. So let me show you. If I go here and I type into desmos.com, okay, I can go to a graphing calculator. All right. Now, we aren't going to graph anything, but we can come over here and you can type in, our first one was 2 divided by 3. So 2, I'm just using the slash, the backslash as your divide, and 3. And it will give you your answer of 0.666. Okay. You can use a phone calculator. So this one right here, I'm going to put as 0.66. Now, I could put a repeating line. Let me make my decimal darker. Okay. If that repeating line, that bar is on top of your number, it means it's going to keep going on forever. So it was 66666, and it keeps going. Okay. So that's this one changed to a decimal. Now, if we do 47%, anytime we have a percent and we're moving it to a decimal, we want to move it 2 places. Okay. So if we are given 47%, our decimal starts at the end of our number. All right. And we're going to move it 2 places to the left. So I'm going to move it 1, 2, and that's where my new decimal will be. So it is technically 0.47. Okay. We've now changed it to a decimal. The last one is a mixed number. When you have a mixed number, you really just want to focus in on that fraction. All right. Again, you could go over to Desmos. You're going to get to use it a whole bunch this year. I'll just X that one out, and I'm going to put in 1 and then the backslash as divide, and then 4. Okay. Hopefully you know 1/4 as a fraction and to a decimal, but it is 0.25. Coming back here. Now, my answer is not 0.25. You have to remember to bring this mixed number, the value down. So it's really 4.25. And now I could order them. What if I wanted to order them least to greatest? And I know I didn't write down all that, but if we want to order them least to greatest, right? And then definitely 0.47 would be the smallest. The biggest one would definitely be this guy. Okay. And then in between, we have the only option left, 0.66. Now, some answer choices that you will get goes back to the original. So let me erase what we just did one at a time. 0.47, we would need to write it as 47% is our first one. The 0.6666 that we changed, we need to make sure we list it as 2/3. And the last one, 4.25, we would list it as its original 4 and 1/4. The reason is if you get a multiple choice, a lot of the time it will go and revert itself back again to this original form. Okay, so that's an option. Let's do another one. If we are comparing two numbers, let's say 6.38, is it greater than, less than, or equal to 6.3? So first, let's review what is greater than and what is less than. Greater than You write it. And you have less than. And you always have the option for equal to. Okay. So now what we would do is we'd put in a greater than or a less than symbol inside of our little circle here. So we know that $6.38, it's an easy way to make this into saying it so you can compare it easier, is much higher than $6.30 if we put a zero back here. So I'm going to put greater than symbol, and that one is done. Okay. Sometimes they'll give you a number line, and that number line is there to help you if you need it. When you figure out decimals, you can create your own number line by like identifying which line values they will be. Okay. If you don't need a number line, don't use a number line. Okay. You have access to a calculator, which is helpful. So let's say I have 3 3/5, and my last one is 3. Ooh, that's a bad 3. Hold on. 0.7, and it has the bar on top. Okay. Now remember, this bar means that it's repeating, so it's 3.77777. The great news is on this example, you already have a whole number, so you don't have to change it and do anything to it. This one is already a decimal, so you don't have to do anything to it. We're just going to look at this middle 3 3/5 that they give us. So 3/5, if I put that in my calculator, 3 divided by 5, go over here to Desmos, and I get 0.6. All right, so I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to write that this, as a decimal, is 3.6. Now, if I was going to do a number line, I can maybe make like this as 3.2. This would be 3. 4, that's 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, right? Anyway, you can make them 0.5s. You could do this as 0, and this is 10, okay? It's your number line. You can make it how it is helpful for you. So if we were going to put down our first option, I would put a circle maybe right here. I would put a circle at 3.6, and I would put a circle at 3.7.7777. Repeating, it'd be somewhere over here, okay? That would be our order. And they happen to be in order from least to greatest. But if they asked you greatest to least, you could switch that around. All right, we'll do another example. So we're going to do it in from greatest. Whoops, let me erase that. We're going to do greatest to least. And our numbers are -4.5. That is a horrible dot. Okay. Our number is -4.2. 4 squared, and pi. All right, so, well, you know what? Let's not do pi. Let's do a fraction. 3/2. Okay, so we want to make them all into decimals. The good part is the first two are already in decimals. We need to change the last two numbers. So 4 squared, if you don't know what 4 times 4 is, because that's what 4 squared means. It's you can go over here to Desmos, and I'm going to do 4. Here's my little square. Let's see here. That's not what I want. Maybe it's expression. Nope. Let me go back. You know what? This is why we have a Desmos intro video that I hope you watched. If not, I'm going to go back to desmos.com. And I know you can get a regular calculator for functioning. Let's see if it has a squared. Well, we'll do 4 times 4. 4 times 4. We're going to do times. There we go. And your answer is 16. I don't know why it won't have a square. I'll look into that. Hopefully Mr. Joel explained it in the Desmos video, and you know more about it than I do right now. I usually use Desmos with the graphing calculator, but there is that basic calculator as well. Okay, let me make a better 6. So we get 16. That was not a good 6. There we go. 3 divided by 2, you can go back to Desmos, and you can have 3 divided by 2, and you get 1.5. Okay. All right, so now we want to order them from greatest to least. Whenever you have these negative numbers, okay, those are always going to be your smallest value. Remember, if you were given like a number line and there's 0, they're going to be over on this side. So they're always the smaller. Okay, so those will be at the very end of our statement. Our largest one is going to be 16, or 4 squared. So we're going to put 4 squared first. Our next one is going to be 3 over 2, because that's 1.5. Now we have to decide which one is the smallest out of these two. All right. If it is close to 0, it is actually a larger value. So if like I had -1, it is actually closer to 0. It is actually a greater value. So these ones, I had -4 right here, and then -5 on my number line if it kept going. 4.2 would be closer to 4, and then 4.5 would be in the middle. So -4.2, and the smallest is -4.5. You will have some questions where it has some negatives. Okay. I think that is about it. I would love to tell you to compare numbers. Please remember to change them to decimals. Oh, one more thing. If you're given 130%, okay, remember your decimal starts at the end. You move it 2 places. So now it is 1.3. You can have the 0. You don't have to. If you are given 4%, your decimal starts at the end. You move it 2 places. Now, if you notice, we have to fill in this blank with a 0. So our answer is 0.04. Please remember that 0. It's very, very important. Okay. The next option is if maybe you had 7.6%. It gives you that decimal already. So I'm going to start at the decimal and move it over 2. So I would end up with 0.076. All right, and that's just another little bit of information, hopefully with the percents that will help you. Always move it 2 to the left. All right, if y'all have any questions, be sure you reach out to Mr. Joel or myself.